I mean, there's no understanding. I feel like in cheating in a marriage in any
well, I
sense.
think, but it's you have. Well, so you have a person who,
it's not like she's.
Well, so you have a guy who has these wants and desires.
Okay.
What he
Everyone
wants
does though.
Okay, but he's essentially been, bending to her will. She hasn't been meeting him halfway as much as he's been meeting her, right? So, because Irene sort of says, like, all the time, like, I wish he would just be happy with the way things I want them to be. Like, right, I wish he would just be happy with my plan.
Yeah.
Okay, why does he have to be so...
But then even in the kids with the part right in the beginning about, like, teaching them about sex and everything, she kind of went towards his way and was like, okay, fine, you teach them what they want.
Well,
like, there's times where she does
Well, she was pretty adamant that I don't want you to talk to the kids about any sort of racial injustice.
Right, initially those were her views.
But she didn't about racial injustice, so things like that. So it's really like, he can't really parent the kids he wants. Can't parent the kids he wants to parent them. He wants to be a little bit more liberal in his parenting. So he wants us to say, like, we found out sex. He says, like, we tried to conceal the word nigger from them, but that didn't work. They obviously learned what it was.
Yeah.
We shouldn't conceal, like, these, like, terrible facts about the world from them. So he's unable to do that. He sees, like, this wife who's just trying to, enshroud their entire family with, like, some protective force field that doesn't let any of that, any of the horrors of the outside world get in.
And again, that's just her being, I feel like, a good mother. Like, sometimes it is too controlling.
It's her being a good mother, but it doesn't, but Brian thinks that's not good parenting. Brian wants to parent his kids sort of in his way as well. He wants to have some influence.
Was so she wanted to take them to boarding school, and he said no, so they didn't, obviously.
Well, they didn't. Well, they never got to that, though. I mean, so, like, she wanted to tell him that, but it never got to that.
It seemed like, well, in my interpretation, was just that it was kind of a thing, it was a moot point, it passed, and they were obviously going to stay there and take the education they were
she said that, I mean, she was even saying, though, with that, like, I wish, like, he could just go to Europe and just get it out of his system. That's the impression that I was getting. Like, she wasn't saying, like...
She underviews how much he wants to get away.
Yeah, but she wasn't saying it like, like, I want to do it because it'll make him happy. Like, it was more like, I want to do it just so that he can shut up about it, so he can simmer down and just, like, settle into this bland life that we have.
Another reason why I don't feel the affair is possible because she is so unreliable in that she's so controlling in every aspect that she doesn't even care about her husband's feelings in that sense where she wants him to be happy. She just wants him for her. So then,
but she's not caring. So she's being more.
So that totally makes it reasonable for the husband to cheat on her.
Right,
not
exactly.
Justified,
right, it makes it reasonable. I mean, see, it's like because it seems like it's obtuse. Like she seems to be. I mean, she seems a little bit. I think also another sticking point is that Irene's way more selfish than she would like to admit. And she also beats up on Claire being so ridiculously selfish about everything.
But she herself. Selfish.
But selfish control. Because she's saying, I want them to be happy in the ways that I want them to be happy.
Right. That's why I feel like she's so stuck in her head that she would make up that.
Really controlling at the expense of that other person's feelings, of Brian's feelings.
Yeah, I would.
So at the expense of them. Dude, she's ignorant of them. She's totally out of touch. She's not totally out of touch. I mean, she understands his feelings, but she disregards them. She doesn't care. She doesn't care what really Brian wants. She just wishes that Brian would be happy. So I'm saying that she treats Brian this way.
Mm-hmm.
So does Brian then not have good cause to go, into the arms of some other woman? You know what I mean?
No.
Finding some sort of affection elsewhere.
No, because since she is so stuck, she just wants him to be happy, and she would do it at any cause that maybe she would see him having this affair as being happy and having all these thoughts. Like, she just seems very focused on herself, on controlling the situation, that then when they're going off together, she starts, like, hallucinating these things where now all of a sudden they're having this, this affair. Like,
but you see, even like when the affair came up, though, like, and this is where I get to the point of selfishness. Maybe it's a little bit narcissism, maybe is a better word. But I was saying, like, towards the end where she thinks that he's having an affair and stuff like that. It was never, ever, ever, like, what drove him to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was never like maybe was there something wrong that I did? Like, how could he do this? What drove him to do this? It was all, how can we live with this and conceal it? How can we just isolate it so that nobody knows about it and everything can go on as if it went before? We can just keep up appearances.
Exactly, and how ridiculous is that thought?
Right, that is very ridiculous.
That's why she would probably imagine that she would do anything to hide it.
But that just shows just how sort of narcissistic she is. She doesn't care she doesn't care that her husband might be having an affair with Claire because he's unhappy. She doesn't care about that. She doesn't express anything about that. So she's clearly shown that she's not a very good wife. She's not a very attentive wife or a very perceptive wife.
I would disagree with that. It's just her own self problems. Like we even said in the beginning, she's very always aware. She doesn't care. She doesn't have any like sexual being inside of her, that she just wants to be proper. She wants to be this person that follows rules. She doesn't want any kind of conflict. And so that's why maybe she would imagine a certain conflict and then she would do anything to hide it because she doesn't.
But that's not fair. So you can say, okay, well that's just sort of the way she is. But then she has no right saying getting angry at Brian for being the way he is.
No, absolutely. That's why this
right.
is
So I'm saying that, and that she's out of touch with that. That she's not like satisfying his sort of needs and desires. Mm-hmm. That marriage, it's compromise. You got to do certain things. And it seems like throughout the book, she's not really making any compromises. She's like, no, I want to parent the kids in a certain way. No, I want them to live by my plan. I wish they would just be happy with the way that I want things to be. I wish they would just be happy. But she's not giving up anything of herself, really. You know what I mean? And so maybe is Brian not picking up on that? Maybe not seeing her as being sort of a selfish and narcissistic wife? And does it not maybe kind of think, maybe it's a little bit reasonable that maybe it doesn't happen, but at least that Irene would be picking up on some of that and have some suspicion that Brian is having an affair? I mean, would Brian be justified in having it? Or is it reasonable or understandable of Brian to have an affair? When clearly he is really in an unhappy marriage. I mean, the limitation of this, of course, is that we can get inside Irene's head. We can't get inside Brian's. Larson, of course, just doesn't give us that narrative. We don't know what's inside Brian. So a lot of this, it is speculative. But I am saying still that from the information that we have on Brian and of their marriage situation, that I think it makes a lot of sense to me. I think it throws a lot of light on,
I still know. I'm just really getting the whole part, like you brought up